Due to the current lockdown in my city, I've finally gotten around to organizing some old boxes, and I came across this fascinating little object. It's made of metal and surprisingly heavy for its size. Normally, my mother, who keeps everything from past generations, can identify nearly every item in the house, but this one had her stumped. She suspects it might be some sort of accessory related to photography, though she's not entirely sure. It's a pewter case with a velvet interior, which gives it a rather elegant look. The name Exacuo is stamped on the back, along with Brevetato nei Principali Stati, which translates to patented in the principal states. On the handle, the engraving non premere, meaning don't press or don't squeeze, is visible. The object is entirely made of steel, metal, and the top section has punch holes and spins. I'm from Italy, so there's a chance this object could be Italian. I spent quite a bit of time researching it online, but there's very little information available, and I couldn't find anything that matches. Any idea what it could be? I know of a website run by an expert collector of devices called a stropper. I tried searching and discovered that it is actually a razor blade. Interestingly, it also originates from Italy. Two mystery objects found in the Gwalia Ghost Town Museum, near the outback West Australian mining town of Leonora. The exhibit is titled Mystery Objects on Loan from B.J. Damasson, donated by Ann Lambert. The first is an ornate cast iron casing made of two sides screwed together, with a protruding screw thread for a bolt on the side, with a 40mm hole at the front, and what may be a turnkey at the back. The second is a thick book-sized box with a metal handle embossed with Coleman located on the side, a small metal button above, and the front is coated in leather with a transparent panel in the center. Anyone know what this is? The object on the right is a fare collection box that a railway worker would carry to collect fares from passengers. Coins or tokens were dropped into the top, and the window allowed the driver to see the proper fare. Once the passenger paid, the driver would push a release button, causing the fare to drop into the box. The process would repeat with each new passenger. At the end of the shift, the driver would turn in the locked fare box. The large handle was essential, as the box would become quite heavy from all the small change. My guess is that the object on the left is a hand-crank blower for a forge. A handle would go on the shaft with threads on the end. The other screw on the spine might have been used for mounting. The outlet would mate up with the forge. Perhaps the key is a lubrication plug. What do you think? I found a strange object on the shoreline in the UK. It has a distinctly pleasant scent, almost like a fresh perfume, with oceanic notes that I can't quite describe. When I applied a little heat, it melted similarly to wax. Weighing around 200 grams, the texture is soft. It smells like a really fresh aftershave. It's a scent unlike anything I've encountered, leaving me curious about its origins. Any idea what it could be? I suspect it's ambergris, though I'm not entirely certain. Essentially, ambergris is a substance found in whale digestive systems, and it's valued for its perfume-like scent, as it's used in many high-end perfumes. Since I'm in the UK, I'm allowed to sell it, and it could fetch around £7,000 per kilo. As a general rule, the lighter and waxier the ambergris, the more valuable it is. I found a curious glass object at a thrift store for $35. It plugs into a standard outlet and features several openings with a central tube running through it. Despite its compact size, about 12 to 18 inches tall, it's surprisingly heavy, with a volume of around a gallon. Intrigued, I did a reverse image search, and it came up as a small appliance. I'm still not sure what it's for, but the design suggests it might be a vintage, leaving me eager to figure out its true purpose. Any idea what it could be? It's an old subwoofer for a computer. Apple used to sell a version back in the day, Harman Kardon Soundsticks 2 to be precise. The first version was called iSub and was a companion device for the second-gen iMac with Harman Odyssey speakers. It took the audio and sent the bass to the iSub and high-pass audio to the built-in speakers. This was all done before Mac OS X. It had to be ported to Mac OS X later. If you plugged the iSub into a computer that didn't have the software support, it showed up as a plain USB audio device. I stumbled upon an intriguing object in an early 1900s barn here in the US. It's a glass item, roughly the size of a large light bulb, filled with an unknown liquid. I have no idea what it's for, but its mysterious appearance has me cautious. Honestly, I'm a bit scared to touch it. Any ideas what this thing is? It's fire extinguisher. This device was made to be hanging stationary over an area of high risk and is designed to shatter when the internal pressure of the gas rises to high from heat, same way a contemporary sprinkler head works today. This one was not designed to be thrown, though it probably could be. The spring-loaded end is the part that heats up enough to melt, typically a type of solder that softens at around 650 degrees Fahrenheit. Once the solder melts, the tensioned spring forces the mechanism to stab into the glass, breaking it. Essentially, this is a rudimentary early version of an automatic fire sprinkler, and surprisingly, the same basic concept is still used in some applications today. Yesterday, an unusual object fell from the sky in the city of Santos, Brazil, striking a car parked on the street. The car owner reported that it was quite hot when discovered and emitted a strong odor resembling rotten eggs. A local news article covered the incident, noting that the Brazilian Air Force had been contacted for an explanation, but had yet to provide a response. Any idea what it could be? It could possibly be a hydraulic piston. Some types of grease or oil release a rotten egg smell as they age and break down. I remember when I was in college, the machine shop bought some used Bridgeport milling machines, and one of them had old grease on the table's ways. After someone cranked the table all the way to one side, exposing the grease, the smell of rotten eggs was so strong it was mistaken for a natural gas leak. But what about those circular scratches on the body? If it were a hydraulic piston, shouldn't the scratches be vertical along the body? Or could there be no scratches at all? That's something to consider. Today I came across a strange object at a garage sale. It's made of wood, just over 3 feet long and about 1.5 feet tall. The piece is hollow inside and has a metal band wrapped around its middle, with possible metal ends. There are no other markings or labels on it. I tried a reverse image search, but nothing came up. The lack of any clear identification only makes me more curious about what it could be and what its purpose might have been. Any ideas? It's a former cone used to shape raw felt into cone shapes for hat making. The felt is wrapped around the cone and then cut in half down that metal band to produce 2 halves that are the first step in forming a wool felt hat. I found this metal object on the shoreline at the Atuatawa Stonefields Reserve, near the airport in Auckland, New Zealand. Metal, brass, with screw thread at the bottom and colored plastic rings around shaft, some opaque, some transparent. I'm incredibly curious about this. Anyone know what this is? This is the handle to a machinist's hammer. It's the common item to make when learning how to turn on a lathe. When they made these, the handle was made out of brass and then knurled.